The KPA Dockers, they finished fourth in the WBLA qualifiers where they got beat by APR, and they racked up 2 wins and 3 losses. And in this video, we'll just do a deep recap on the events that we saw this past week. But before you get started, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, give me the HBO special, help a brother out. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and also engage with me in the comment section and give me any video ideas that you want to talk about. So the KPA Dockers, to start off, this is a team that I've been covering throughout the years, and this is a team that I have been closely monitoring their activities both inside and outside Kenya. So within Kenya, they're one of the most dominant teams in the women's division. I don't think there's a team that can be able to hold a candle to what KPA has been able to do, especially with last year's resume, coming into this WBLA qualifiers as the defending champions of Zone 5. Of course, number one, you have to appreciate the grit and grind that KPA had. But to add some context, we must tell it the way it is, because KPA, they are a team that have been letting us down when it comes to continental showdowns. And we saw this in last year's AWBL, where they made it to the finals. And even after coming out strong and beating REG in the actual AWBL and making it to their finals, they had a very poor finals. And this year has been nothing short of a sheer disappointment. It has been very disappointing. I must say, I feel so sad for this team, because they're in a situation where they can't go up and they can't go down. Finished fourth in the qualifiers. Not sure if they are going to be able to make it to the actual WBLA, because this is the WBLA qualifiers. But these WBLA qualifiers have looked more like what we're going to see in the WBLA, which is going to happen next month. But looking at what KPA did, they started off very strong in the first game with a huge blowout. I know a lot of people are like, KPA, they got it handled, they have everything, but they got slapped back to reality in that APR game, where the game ended 96-67. So APR got that win, and KPA matched up against Equity. So this was a finals rematch, and this is a match that KPA are very much comfortable in. And honestly, this was one in the 2 wins that they had. And since they made the semis in the third place game, they have been beat from pillar to post. And especially watching this Ahly Sporting game, this was the most disappointing game that I watched. I caught it live yesterday, and I must say it was bad, especially in the first half. And in the second, it was just rubber stamping, because Ahly, they were not missing any shot. And the Ahly team from Egypt picked up from where a Sporting left off, and they just smacked around KPA for the better part of 40 minutes. And APR just continued, whitewashing KPA. APR just won that game 85-51. But that Ahly game in the semis was very embarrassing. And we'll get to that in the video. So there are 5 games played, with rounding out the record of 2 wins, 3 losses, with a 4th place finish. So KPA are in the worst position you can ever say a team can be in, because you expect a team of this caliber to be able to compete at the highest level when it matters. But when you look back at KPA's history, and you look back at the people or the teams that KPA has played and matched up with, you will quickly come to the realization that KPA has not had enough, games that test their mettle, test what they are made of. Because when you go back to the Kenyan National Premier League and you look at the teams that are in the women's division, the only competitive teams in the women's division are the Equity. If you're matching up against KPA, you've got the Equity Hawks, you've got the ZTEC Sparks, and you've got the USIU Flames, right? So you got those 3 teams. All the other teams, KPA are just going to handle easily. So there's not enough games that test and push KPA to the limit. So when they come to continental basketball, you see them struggle like this because, okay, they can be able to like beat the below average teams, but when it comes to the teams that are above average, teams that have the ability to bring it to them, they really, really struggle. And they really struggle mightily and greatly. And it's something that you can't even you can't stop it, man. Like it's so sad seeing a team that is quote unquote the best, the top team in Kenya. I can say they got beat in the finals, but the game was very close. So when they got beat by the Equity Hawks, it was a 5-game series. Game was decided by 2 points, could have gone either way. But still, KPA, they are the 2-time champions, but the Equity Hawks won it. But we're going to talk about the Equity Hawks in a minute in the next video. So yeah, that's a quick side note. But KPA is a team that you don't expect them to have any flaws. But when they match up against an above average team, they struggle. They really, really struggle. And we saw that against the APR team in the group phase. When they played those 2 games in the group phase, they struggled. You could see that game, it was not easy. And APR were a stronger side coming from Rwanda. And Rwanda and Kenya have a history. It's very, very hard for KPA to, bring their game to them because they're very one-dimensional when it comes to their offense, which we're going to get into. Then that KPA versus Equity, it was just that matchup that KPA always dreamed of. They always dreamed of playing Equity because they know how to beat Equity. But when it comes to these other teams, they struggle. So APR, they have played KPA twice and they've won. They have a record of 2-0 on KPA. And those games have been near blowouts. I can even say the first game was a near blowout, but this one was a huge blowout for that third place game. You might have thought that KPA would have at least made the adjustments to be able to win this game, but they didn't. And even on to the first game, this game started off very promising. I honestly felt like KPA have control. They have control of this game because we have seen time and time again KPA, shine on these weak teams. The Hausa City Basketball Club, they are a weak team, and their offense was very, very poor. And KPA able to capitalize on that. Look at the score here, 128-36. Check out the scoring per quarter. 32 points, KPA. 36, 29, 31. So this was a dominant game. It was a game that, KPA were just, toying with this team. And there was no weak spot. But the most glaring thing, the most shocking thing that you might think that KPA might have had in their favor was like the ability to play well. That was the ability to make the adjustments. That was something that I was really, really looking at. I don't even know where the shocking part came, but this was a very shocking. I think the shocking part was like the final score, because when I was watching this game, I caught this game in the second half, and man, this scoreline was ridiculous. It was very ridiculous. And still, another thing that I kept monitoring, their 3-point shooting. Look at their 3-point shooting right here. Natalie, 1 for 1. She's not a 3-point shooter. Becky is very good from downtown, but she's not shooting high volume. Hila Indasi, 1 of 2. So there are, out of 10 attempted threes, only 4 went in. Look at the field goals. 9 of 14, 1 of 3. Not too bad. Even with the high scoring, you could see that majority of their points are not even coming from the 3-point line. They're coming from drives. So what that communicated to me was KPA have the ability to compete very well and dominate a team inside. But what if they match up against a team that stops the inside balls, stops them from getting in, stops them from getting into the lane. What happens? They just capitulate. Even when you look at the shot chart, if you look at what KPA did from 3, even looking at all the shots made, let's check out the first quarter. You can see majority of them were made inside. Only 1 3 attempted. It was a bloodbath. Quarter 2, no threes made. All of the shots were inside. Quarter 3, look at the shots they made out inside and outside. It's night and day at this point. Look at the shots that are made outside. Only 1 3 attempted and it missed. So this game, they were just depending on their ability to drive, and they were very confident in going in. And this win might have made people think that they have what it takes to do it. They limited their turnovers to 11, but it's just that they played a poor team. Okay, fine. I gave them the nod in this game. I was like, you know what? Maybe KPA can go back to the finals and make it to the Wbla. That is what I had in mind. So I was like, you know what? Maybe they changed up. They made a few roster changes. They brought in a couple of players. They brought in Alima Dombia. I hope I have not butchered her name. Look, they've got Akarawie, Nkem Akarawie. So they brought her in. So they brought in 2 new players in there. So I expected them. Oh, and also Veronica Keita. So I was expecting at least those 3 players to at least assist them to get to that next level. So this is the first game. In the second game, my God, it was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. APR just had KPA's number. I did not see a situation where KPA were going to be able to win this game. I didn't see it. Honestly, I did not see it. It was a game that KPA had a poor start. I remember I caught this game in the first half and I just immediately switched off because I just knew this game was very close, and I just knew for a fact KPA are just going to blow this game based on their one-dimensional offense they have. And at this point, Coach Ojoku just needs to be fired at this point, because whatever he does to prepare this team, it's not working at all. Look at the score. The final score was 96-76. So it was a respectable score, but nonetheless, a near blowout. Look at the scoring. KPA 19 points in the first quarter. So this game from tip-off, I just knew for a fact that KPA are going to have a very, very long game. Now in the second quarter, KPA, this is the second quarter was the only quarter that KPA won, and APR are just right behind them. And you might think that even with the defense that KPA plays, do they have the offense to be able to, match that defense that they play? Because in basketball, there always has to be a break-even point. The break-even point is when your defense and offense are near the same, but your offensive output is higher. So that's where you break even. You can't break even when you have good defense and poor offense. So that's one thing that I noticed, and it has really, really hurt the KPA Dockers a lot. It has really hurt them a lot, and I'm not even sure if they take this thing seriously, because this has been one of their biggest undoings, even when it comes to playing good basketball that can make them win. Alima Dumbia, she had 22 points, but she was outscored by Kambayoro Diakite. Malu Grace, she had 9 rebounds. She was out-rebounded there. Natalie, she had 6 assists. And you can see it was just a coming out party for KPA. And even looking at the people who are there, Becky didn't play, Yvonne didn't play, and Vilma Wino didn't play. So this game was it was a bloodbath. Look at Malu Grace. She had a plus-minus for -20. So she was 9 of 17. Okay, she shot about 50%. But look at the 3 ball, 1 of 5. Natalie, 1 of 3. She had 5 points in 26 minutes. So you tell me if this is a player that you can rely on. I don't know, man. She had 6. She had more assists than points scored, which, in her position, she needs to facilitate more, but she has very poor vision. Grace nearly played the whole game. That's why she got these points, and that's why she was able to do this. She was very inefficient when it came to handling the basketball. I must say, she was the most inefficient player in this game. But anyway, it is what it is. Selena did virtually nothing in this game. Linda Orlando did not play this game. She only played 1 minute. 1 minute 37, nothing. Alima Dombia, 22 minutes. She played 22 minutes, 45, 22 points. She was actually quite efficient in this game. But hey, it was just not going KPA's way at this point. So you can see there's a huge problem, especially when it comes to KPA's offense, especially shooting the 3 ball. They're not able to shoot the 3 ball. You could see in the previous game they were 4 of 10. This is 6 of 19. This is below average. They are 31% shooting from downtown. Look at their shooting splits on the 2-point field goals. 25 out of 55. These people missed 30 field goal attempts. So if that's not a red flag, that's a big yikes for me. So it's sad. Okay. The player that I was really much monitoring in this game was Italy Lucas. She was flaming us. There was no weak spot in her game. 63% shooting from the field. She didn't attempt too much, but she really knocked down the 3 ball. If you see, she was 6 of 8 from downtown, something that we really struggled with. Look at the 3-point shooting percentage for the APR team. Look at that. Because if you appreciate the 3-point shooting for the other team, they shot 56%. Look at what KPA shot. KPA shot 31%. So there's no way you're going to cut this deficit if you're not going to be able to pick up your shots from downtown. And this is a 3-point shooting error. So it's given and it's implied that you must be able to shoot the 3 ball, which is something that is really, really struggled with. Anyway, so after this game, I was very, very shocked. I was like, you know what? Hey, a lot of people I saw communicating and saying, "Oh, it's a bad day at the office. Oh, KPA, they'll get it together. You know, KPA gonna get it together. Fine. You know, let's check it out." So threes is something that they didn't pay attention to. Look at this. They shot a lot of threes. They shot 7 threes, but only 3 went in. No 3 went in. No 3 went in the second quarter. Third quarter, only 1 attempt that went in. Only 2. So there's no productivity when it comes to the 3 ball. But now let's look at what the APR team did. Look at what APR did. Okay, they were not shooting efficiently, but they knocked down the threes that they needed to be able to get through. Especially in the fourth, that's when the threes went in. And this is where the APR team pulled away easily. And there was no stopping APR's offense at this point. And you must ask the question, what can KPA actually do in these games so that they can be able to prevent this? Hey, beat Equity. I mean, what a way to bounce back. You beat your local rival, it brings your hopes up. You're like, hey, we have a 2-1 record in the quarter. We have a 2-1 record heading into the quarterfinals. They matched up against Equity. Even last year they beat Equity in the AWBL, but this year, it's a known goal. And you're going to talk about even the Equity Hawks. I mean, I don't know. I mentioned Dumas. I know the Equity Dumas. They lost to the Thunder like 7 times this season. So the Equity Hawks, they are the reigning defending KBF champions, but they were not able to beat the 2-time champions for the women's division KPA in this one. So this was a near blowout, and the score was just predictable, because even when I saw the KPA and Equity draw in the quarterfinals, I just knew for a fact that KPA are just going to whitewash Equity. They just know what they need to do, and they know how to play this team because they have played them multiple times. So not too much to say here, because all their inefficiencies are blocked, especially when it comes to playing a hometown team, because look, they are able to win this game and they know how to play the Equity Hawks. But unfortunately for KPA, not every team is going to play like the Equity Hawks, because they just like soft opponents. So even with that, look at the shooting from downtown. 5 of 20. Natalie was 1 of 7. You know, it's sometimes you tell the player, stop shooting the damn ball. Stop shooting the damn ball, please. This is sad, honestly. Look at this. Selena Okum, 1 of 3. It's like they're just jacking up shots for nothing. Alima Domvia, look, 1 of 4. Becky, 0 for 2. Hilda, 1 of 2. I mean, it's sad, man. Especially Natalie at that position. How many turnovers should she have? 5 turnovers. I mean, there's no break-even point with her because you can't have 5 turnovers and what? 3 assists? There's no way you're gonna have a break-even point there. Look at this. Even the 4 steals did nothing because, I mean, it's just sad, and they just get masked, or they get masked with the win because it's all about, KP is all about winning. But that game that I really, really knew that is going to happen, it was inevitable, was the Ahly game, because I knew for a fact that KPA didn't have what it takes to beat the Ahly Sporting Club. So Sporting, from last year, what we saw, from the drama that we saw last year in the AWBL knockout stages, Ahly Sporting beat KPA last year multiple times, similar to what we saw this year. We've seen an Egyptian side take it on to Kenya, to a Kenyan side. And this game was so uncompetitive. It was, I can even say, a quit game that KPA played. The final score was 104-63. So this is top tier, I must say, incompetence. I can say it's top tier quitting. Look at this. How can you defend this? A 4-point first quarter. So KPA in the first quarter only scored 4 points. Only 4 points? Come on, KPA. 4 points. Ahly, 28. Okay, you can see that KPA tried to come back in the second quarter with 22 points apiece. But at this point, the game was already done. And the damage was already done. And the Ahly Sporting team from Egypt put the final nail in the coffin in the third quarter, where they scored a quarter high 34 points. And at this point, KPA just could not respond. At this point, the game was done. They were just pounding the clock at this point. And there was nothing, there was absolutely nothing that the KPA team could have done to win this game. And the interesting thing was the threes that were getting hit by the Sporting team. Because to start, look at even their shooting. They didn't shoot like the most efficient, but their threes, man. The threes and going to the line. 20 of 29 free throws. KPA were fouling a lot, and they were sending this good free throw shooting team to the line, and they were knocking them down at a very efficient clip. And look at KPA. Like, even the threes, no threes, man. 4 of 20. 11 of 16. Don't even drawing fouls. You expect the people who are playing in the backcourt to at least draw fouls. What did they do? Natalie did nothing. 20 minutes played, 2 points. And nobody tells her anything. Nobody. Look at this. 0 for 5. 0 for 2. 0 for 3, man. 2 for 2. Only points she scored were from the line. That's it. That's your point guard. That's your franchise point guard. Look at this. 4 assists. 3 personal fouls. 2 turnovers, man. Like, it would have been even more because she did virtually nothing. I mean, Nkem Akarawie, she was the one who was doing something at least. And even the imports that KPA brought in, they were the ones who were stepping up. But the others were just top tier garbage, man. Like, they were garbage, honestly. Like, look at this. It's not even me hating, but this is it what it is. I mean, Coach Ujuku, man, you failed. You failed as a KPA coach, man. Like, you only know how to prepare a team for KBF games. But when it comes to this, when it comes to basketball, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Because if you go ahead and try to use the same strategies of last year, it will still fail. And it's sad because even the people in the comments in the live stream were saying the same thing. They were saying the same thing. Don't use the same strategies. Don't use the same tactics. Change up. Your one-dimensional approach on offense is what is leading to this productivity on the court. Look at this. Look, the quote-unquote players that are the best in KBL. Look at this. Hilda Indasi, she has played 3x3, 7 points in 22 and a half minutes played. Look at this. Rebecca, 12, man. Like, look at this. Linda Alando, near 10 minutes, nothing. This is straight out cardio at this point. Selena, nothing. The quote-unquote hard players in the league, nothing. 0 for 5, 0 for 3. I mean, it's sad. Malu Grace, look. She came out small with an 8-point game, and she was getting shut down. She was getting shut down at every turn, and she could do nothing. Look at Belinda. I don't know what's up. 10 minutes, 46 seconds. Look at this. You did nothing. You grabbed how many rebounds? It's only rebounds. Only playing defense, but you can't even produce anything. So, how do you expect to score? You score. Alima, she scored double digits, but it was a losing battle, and she's parted her points in garbage time. So, I mean, it's sad, man. It's absolutely sad. And at this point, they got eliminated in the most embarrassing way. In the semi-finals, all they had to do was to at least compete. But you can't compete when you start the game off like this. I watched this game again on playback, and honestly, it was so difficult to watch. I felt like pouring bleach in my eyes. So it's crazy. And the third place game, I don't think people will have even put a lot of stock in KPA because for starters, I just knew KPA just going to lose this game, and APR just gonna pick up where they left off in the second game that they played KPA and the second game that they played. So APR won every single quarter. Check this out. 17 points in the first, 22, 18. And they finished strong with a quarter high 28 in the fourth just to finish off KPA. I mean, it's quite embarrassing, you know. Like, it's very embarrassing. The KPA was the only bright spot that Kenya had in this tournament when it came to the Wbla qualifiers. I know the Equity Hawks, they won the championship and they were supposed to be the bright side, but man, looking at what this team did, it's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. Honestly, I don't think words can describe how bad these players played. Look at this. I mean, it's like shoe size performances here. I know you're not supposed to look at points like that, but that's the only way you win games. Selena Okumu and Nkem Akarawie, they had the highest negative net plus minus from minus 27. I mean, they are tied being the two worst players of this game, and Natalie followed in closely. She did virtually nothing in this game. I mean, I'm not even gonna look at the threes. 3 made threes in a whole game. Look at that. Look at APR. APR made 12 of 26 from downtown and 7 of 36 from two-point land. So they were 47. So at least they were near the break-even point. And they shot at a very good clip. But look at KPA. This is a team that didn't have so much urgency when it came to playing. Look at the personal fouls and turnovers. Man, they will even have more. They would have even had more turnovers if this game continued. And that's just about it. So KPA, I mean, it's very embarrassing. And even when I say embarrassing, I feel like it's an understatement because last year I made so many videos talking about KPA and their poor performances, documenting their poor performances. And honestly, this has been it's been a coming out party of one of the most embarrassing teams in Kenyan basketball when it comes to the continental stage. I mean, KPA's measuring stick is their ability to compete in continental basketball. I don't think people are holding their breath for KPA to go ahead and just win the championship. People are waiting to see what will KPA actually do when it really matters, because you can play a lot of Kenya, the Premier League games, the Kenya Premier League games, and you have dominant performances. KPA are used to blowing out teams with like even margins of 70 and 80. But if you look at when it matters, when you look at when it counts, when you play outside and and they play with teams and players that are quote unquote on their level, because I don't think KPA is at anyone's level at this point. KPA are the worst team in the they're the worst championship team to compete in the continent. I can say they are the worst of the best. They're the worst of the best at this point. Because look at this. This is an average team, KPA. So look at 128 and 80. So when they match up against below average teams, they have a very good game. When they match up against a team that they are used to playing, they have the ability to take that game. But when they play against an A-list team, a team that is just on top, like APR, look at the performance they give. 96-76. Ahly 104-63. KPA, look at the KPA versus APR in the third place game. When it counts to get third place, at least show that you can bounce back from a poor semi-finals. You end up finishing fourth, and you can't be able to get the job done. So what does that communicate? What does that tell us? KPA is a poor team. I have mentioned this year in, year out. And there's nothing that's going to change when it comes to this team. Honestly, I held my tongue this whole tournament just to see what KPA are going to do. But they have proven me right. And every single video that I've made is, will KPA be able to improve? And every single video that I've made throughout the years that I've been covering KPA, they've all stood the test of time. KPA have shown that they're a team that can't deliver. This is a team that doesn't have the ability to compete. They're not ready for continental basketball. They have very many useless players in the squad. And honestly, there's no stopping the incompetence that is KPA. And they're a team that is done. I don't think KPA have the ability to do anything at this point. They can't go up. They can't go down. They are going to be the worst of the best teams in the continent, which is a very bad place to be at. You are the best team in your own country, but when it comes to playing in the continent, you are last. You're dead last. And it's not because you don't know how to play basketball. It's because you have a very one-dimensional approach when it comes to play. Run and gun, just running up and down the court. Natalie just dribbles the ball up court and goes to the side, passes it, does nothing, and you expect to win the game. There's poor quality. There's poor preparation. There's lack of mentality and idea, and the tactics that are being drawn by the team coming from the Coach Ojuku. He needs to be indicted. Coach Ojuku, you have shown that you're in the same league as Coach Cliff in being a failure, and KPA is going to go down as one of the worst organizations in Kenyan basketball when they continue like this, because the truth will always reveal itself on the court. I mean, I've said so many things about KPA throughout the season. I even said they have been dealt a bad hand, them and Equity, because they are the products of a poor and a weak women's division, and they have never had anyone who's going to prepare them, any team that's going to challenge them to improve. And it has just been rinse and repeat every single year. So honestly, if you ask me, this has been the worst performance, and I wasn't that shocked or surprised if they didn't make it, because when I saw the way the games are going, they are lined up, I just knew for a fact that this is just going to be a very hard one, because last year I felt like KPA had an easy route to the finals, and when they won it. REG, they are not a strong side like that. I know REG, they have done their number on the Equity Hawks, and honestly, I was not that confident in any Kenyan team at this point. KPA, I had an asterisk on them. The Equity Hawks, I just knew they're just going to fold the same way that they have been folding for the past years. And yeah, man, I mean, the only place that KPA deserves to be right now is home. Back home where they belong. Back home where they can go back to dominate these teams, only to qualify and fail when it matters, when it comes to Zone 5 and the WBLA itself when they play. So it's just sad. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave feedback down in the comments on what you think about this. I mean, KPA are just embarrassing, and I'm going to talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.